Hello, I'm Daryl Coots. I'm a reporter here on Jeju, and today we're going to be talking about one of the saddest and most complicated aspects about Jeju and Korean history. We're going to be talking about Sasam, or the Jeju 4-3 incident.
Jeju 4-3 was a violent government crackdown on an uprising spearheaded by a small group of rebels who were opposing police oppression and the division of Korea, resulting in the deaths of some 30,000 people. Goneul-dong. At least 84 villages on Jeju were lost as a result of Jeju 4-3. One of them is the village of Goneul-dong, an historic village that became lost in the winter of 1949. On January 4th of that year, government soldiers descended upon Goneul-dong and lit every house on fire in an effort to force their occupants out into the streets, where they were rounded up and taken to the coast to be executed. The massacre lasted 2 days. Although Goneul-dong village no longer exists, the Doldam, or Jeju stone walls of its long-lost home, still stand preserved as evidence that life once lived here.
This is Naksen-dong.
Naksen-dong Castle. From 1948, Jeju Island's mid-mountain villages were devastated by the government forces. The government forces forced Jeju Islanders to build stone fortresses around their villages, and the 4-3 castle in Naksen-dong is one of them. In truth, it was more of a prison camp than a village during Jeju 4-3, as government forces forced its residents to line the fortress walls with thorn bushes, dig pits, and stand guard, ostensibly to prevent rebel forces from invading, but it was in fact to control the movement of those who lived here. It's hard to imagine this awful time in Jeju's modern history, to think on the suffering so many lived through, and how much each family lost. Altteureu Airfield. Before Jeju 4-3, the island was a victim of the Japanese colonial era, and no place on Jeju better represents this than Altteureu Airfield. From the 1920s to the mid-1930s, this military airfield was built along with 20 small hangars to hide and shield airplanes. When the Sino-Japanese War broke out in 1937 and the Pacific War in the 1940s, many fighter jets were dispatched from here, and Jeju was fortified into a Japanese military base where some 60,000 troops were stationed. The airfield, which started at 200,000 pyong, was increased to 800,000 pyong. During the Japanese occupation, Jeju residents suffered incomparably under the tyranny of the Japanese army. Seotal Oreum, near Altteureu, is Seotal Oreum, which is beautiful like all of Jeju's volcanic cones, but it holds a terrible and heartbreaking history, as it houses the island's largest man-made cave network at 1.2 kilometers long. During the Japanese occupation, the foreign military forced Jeju residents to dig this labyrinthian tunnel network into Seotal Oreum, where important military facilities were held in order to shield them from expected Allied bombings. The area is currently off-limits to the public. There is an anti-aircraft fortification capable of a 360-degree rotation for artillery guns that had a range of 200 kilometers. Both locations are significant war ruins and historical education sites that show the evidence of Japan's invasion and its cruelty. Following liberation in 1945, the respite from cruelty, death, and destruction was sadly short-lived on Jeju. Jeju is a beautiful island with a deep and brutal history, one that should and must be remembered. And I hope all those who come here will be able to participate in a dark tour to learn about Jeju 4-3 and to take it home with them when they leave.